Well, it's time to take a look and see how the old Catalina fared over the winter. Let's check things out. Everything on deck seems to be pretty good. We started out last fall with a brand new tarp, and we had a very mild winter this year in Pennsylvania, so it didn't get beat up too bad. There wasn't any real amounts of snow on it, and the wind hasn't blown all that hard, so the tarp's in pretty good shape. Here's how I access the thing. I left myself a little hole in the front and a hole in the back. The boat's facing in the prevailing wind, so it does get a nice air through all winter long, and this makes it easy to climb up in when I get a chance to do it. We're aboard at last. Open things up here a tad. Take out the drop board. Oh yeah, well, I don't see any critters. You might be interested in these. This is how I keep my stanchions from poking through my cover. They actually slip down over the stanchions. They're made out of a piece of water pipe and plastic conduit covered with pipe insulation. I've used them for a couple years now, and they've been pretty effective for the most part. Up here you can see the PVC that I used to prop up the spreaders. Yeah, the spreaders. There we go. And out further you can see one of my PVC pieces has actually popped off the stanchion and is only partially doing its job the way it's supposed to. It shouldn't be cocked out quite that far. The wind does it. I've seen it happen last year. It works on them, and eventually sometimes they can slip off. Fortunately, they didn't slip off all the way. So now you'll get to see a little bit of my messy cabin the way I left it last fall. Before actual winter set in, I came out a few times and sat in the boat and pondered what repairs I would need after the season. And as you can see here, I have my stove still out here on the table, and my little notepad where I was making notes about what I was going to need to do, and get a little idea what my cabin looks like. I don't really use my dinette very much. I keep these space cases over here usually when I'm cruising. This here is my toolbox and small parts box, and the two space cases are used to keep food and all the food preparation stuff at the ready. This mess down here underneath my table is generally where I keep my trash container and my bottles of water. Generally I keep 5 or 6 bottles of water laying down there when I'm cruising, so that if I need something to drink or use it for cooking, I don't have to go into one of my storage areas to get it out. It's handy there. Here you can see my electrical panel, and this is my adaptation I did for my step. This was wasted space down in here, and my step needed a little reinforcing anyway, so I did it this way, and I really like it. It's handy. I can take my battery in and out pretty easily. It takes about 4 or 5 screws to take the whole works out. And in general usage when I'm sailing, you can see I keep my cleaning supplies down here, real easy to get to and out of the way. Over here you can see some of the wiring that goes to my depth sounder and the board that I use to put in the companionway to carry it when I'm sailing. Up here in the bunk I got my mainsail stored. It's still on the boom, as you can see. A few pieces of sleeping gear. I keep the hatch open about 1 inch all winter so that it gets air through it. And happy to say that it's not the least bit funky in here. It's completely dry. It's not smelly, no evidence of dampness or anything like that. So everything's in pretty good shape. My book rack. Come around the other side. Here's my cockpit cushions. They're the covered foam type. The other one must be laying up front there. I got 2 of them somewhere. And all my things that I need to get through quickly is right over here. These are kind of handy. Get these at Home Depot. They're like a rubber coated wire tie, and they come in handy for a lot of things. I use one of them to cinch my anchor fast back on the stern pulpit. I use them for sail ties sometimes. They're just good to have around. They're handy. You grab it and do with it whatever you got to do. So that kind of concludes the little tour. Give you an idea how my boat's set up for winter.